What's going on, man? It's your boy, Jay Holley, and we are back with another episode of Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. Episode 100. We did it. We finally got here. Episode 100. Thank you. You are far too kind. You could have been anywhere in the world, but I am so glad you are here with me. I am Jesse Holley, the sports talk equivalent of Braille. People feel me when I speak. You guys know what you like to do. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button, tell a friend to tell a friend. And you know how we do this each and every week. We are here, Playmakers 88 in the Colony off of Highway 121. You need to come down here and be a part of this. I'm going to get right into it because we got company. But before I get to company, I had to give my word of encouragement at the beginning because let's be honest, a lot of you aren't going to be here at the end, and that's okay because your boy Jay Holley is not for everybody. But before you go, listen to an episode. Find an episode. By the time you see this one, 100 of them will be out. 100 of them will be out. Find one. Listen at least 15 minutes. If you don't like that episode, find another one and another one until you fall in love with me. That's what you got to do. And then tell a friend, put it in the group chats and all that you have to do. Follow us all over the social media platforms at Mr. Fourth and Long. You can follow us at Fanatics View. You can follow us at Unfiltered with Jesse Holley. You know what to do. You can find us on Apple and Spotify, all those good things. Here's the word of the day. And this one is near and dear to my heart because I heard it several times and it pushed me through the finish line. And so I'm going to bring it to you. And it fits so eloquently with the company that we have in store today. And here's the word. Tell your mind to tell your body to shut the hell up. We got work to do. How often do our mind want to tell us some of the lies that we lead to believe? It wants to tell us that we're tired. It wants to tell us that we're hurt. It wants to be the one that is signaling to the rest of our body that we should give up, we should quit, we should give in. But sometimes you got to tell that mind to shut up. You got to tell that mind we got work to do. We got to keep going. We got to keep pushing through. The mind can be sometimes a little bit swayed and fragile, but the body is strong. So you got to tell that mind, shut the hell up. Because body, we got work to do. And we got company. And this is a special one. Because I'm not saying I don't know if I will be because I am a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ and he can put me anywhere, anytime. But I am a firm believer if it had not been for this person, probably not sitting here. And how fitting that we get to the 100 episode mark that I get to sit down with the Hall of Famer, 3-time Super Bowl champion, the proprietor and mastermind behind Fourth and Long, my friend, my brother, no other than the double eights, the playmaker, Michael Irvin.
Man, I'm so honored to be here, Jesse. I can't even tell you, man. And even in that intro, saying what you said, and just, we all are here because of God. Let's be real.
Yes.
Thank God for God. And thank God for loving us all, even beyond us, more than we love ourselves. Because, he just really doesn't. I know he's been so good to me.
Yeah.
But what you said, Jesse, I've said to you, I've said to Hulk, because that's always been my thought. What am I going to place on the altar when God said, what have you done with the time I have given you? He don't want, what about all these championship trophies? Man, get hit down button. You know what I mean? I put up my trophy. So I would always tell you, I would tell Jesse, I would tell Hulk, because I saw these guys, I see these guys having such a great career. I said, this is my key into heaven. I've always told you this. Yeah. I said, you are my key into heaven. I said, when God comes to me and say, what have you done to deserve heaven? I'll put Jesse Holley and Hulk right on the door. Well, they got a great life.
Yeah.
Hey, you use me to help them. Yes. Now, let me get my seat. Stop messing around. Let me get my seat, I must have been in the plan, like you said, because God uses people to help his people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he used me to help you. He used so many people to help me. You know what I'm saying? He uses people to help people. So So yeah, that means you're still in the plan if you got somebody for you to help.
And if you didn't understand the intro that I made when I said tell your mind to tell your body to tell your mind.
Tell your body to shut up. Your mind. Your mind.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Let's break that down, Jess.
Okay.
Let's break that down, and then we can have that shit.
Okay.
When I was training these guys, I used to always tell these guys, man, because Jimmy Johnson always told me, the body will lie to you all the time. Think about it. Everybody listen to me right now. Your body has lied to you. And you listen to it.
I had it backwards.
Yeah, your body lies.
Your body lies to you.
Your body will tell you everything.
There you go.
Your body gonna tell you everything. Your mind, you have your mind.
Okay.
That's why the Bible says the fight is not against flesh and blood. It's about principalities.
Yep.
Being cast down from high places. So he's telling you, make your mind control your body.
There we go.
Don't let your body control your mind. Everybody out there does it.
Yeah.
Everybody that will hear me say this have done this, and I'm going to tell you when you do it. You go at home at night, you know what you have to do tomorrow. You set your alarm 6 a.m. 6 a.m. comes. You hit that alarm, bring, that alarm goes off. You look at that alarm. Your body says, damn, man, 5 more minutes will mean a whole lot. You know damn well 5 minutes ain't going to mean nothing. You might as well get up and get it going right now.
Yeah.
But your body said, boy, 5 more minutes going to mean the world. You look at it, you hit that snooze, you get that 5. Your body just lied to you. And your body just controlled your mind. Your mind set a time at 6 a.m. And you let your body control your mind instead of your mind control your body. When 6 a.m. came, you should have got your butt up. I don't care what my body said. My body said, get 5 more minutes. Nigga, shut up. It ain't going to help. What you talking about? Let's go. Let's go right now. You know what I mean? And so many times in life, that's what we do. You set a plan to work out. You get ready to go work out. The body said, man, I really don't feel like it. Okay, I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Then tomorrow come, I'll start the next day. We got to get into where we need to be. Do what you have to do before you do what you want to do, and make your mind control your body. Stop listening to your body controlling your mind.
He said it straight. I didn't get it right. He said the man got it straight, but I heard that enough.
Right, you heard it enough. You heard it.
And listen, and literally during that time, and we'll dive more deep into that because there's still some questions that I have about 4th and Long that you and I haven't gotten in 15 years. Haven't got a chance to even talk about. And I know that my fan base has questions about, and like I said, we'll get into it about what happened. Such a great show.
Great show.
We'll get it. We'll get into that.
Great show, and I got some things to talk about.
Before we get into that, this is the 100th episode, so I want us to have a little bit of celebratory toast with this, and so I'm gonna pour us a small little. So I'm
gonna have a little lunch here.
Yeah,
got me some fish and rice here, right here for
Yeah.
Playmakers, right here with my boy, and I'm gonna have me some champagne.
Yeah, a little bubbly. Bubbly.
Be good, buddy.
Yeah, that's for you. I'll give you that. I'll give you that first one.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, this is all right, man.
Come on, Tay. Listen. Let's go, man. I don't leave you out of this. Don't leave you out of this.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
gonna bubble over. It's all good. Look at that.
Look at that. Right down. I hope they got that on camera. I hope y'all got that one on camera. That went right to the top.
This is a toast, man, right here to the 100th episode. And I don't know if I've ever said this to you publicly. Thank you. I've said it to you privately many, many times.
Yeah.
Thank you. You took a chance on. I'm not gonna say I'm not a nobody, but you took a chance on a young man and put your name on the line, because that meant a lot. It meant a lot to send somebody to who your boss, but also someone you treat like a father figure.
Right.
And it changed my life. So you forever changed the course of my life. And so thank you.
I appreciate you saying that.
Episode 100.
I appreciate it. Episode 100.
And so I still carry that name with me, Mr. 4th and Long. But before we get into that, everybody always wants to hear and know, your 90s teams, right? We are, as Stephen Jones said, we are in this little drought. this 30-year drought when it comes to true success and true hierarchy in the National Football League when it comes to dominating. And I talked to Nate a couple months ago.
Nate's my man.
And listen,
Nate crazy.
Nate, I love Nate. Nate and I do a weekly show, hanging with the boys over on DallasCowboys.com. I love Nate. But, Nate said some things, and, Nate always talks so highly of you. And he just talked about your leadership. He talked about no one outworks you. No one can go and hang out and go harder than you in the nightlife, but you were never late for a meeting. You never took off days at practice. You were the quintessential teammate to have at those times. Where did that desire and fire and attitude come from for you to be that formulate the playmaker?
Right. It's so funny because you started this talking, and it's the reality how, God really sets you up for where he has you going. He sets you up. I come from a big family. I'm the 15th of 17. I used to hate it. Man. I got friends, there are 2 people in their family, and they got things. I said, man, we don't get anything over here when you got this many people, so you hate it. But really, as I look back on that, I complained about those times, but when I look back, those were the best times. They blessed me because that told me the importance of teamwork back then. Mm-hmm. So I was able to carry that in every stage that I went in, the pain of not having anything, but also the learning of working together since you did have anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? We got to work together to make sure we have everything we need since nobody has anything really. So no doubt that helped. I used to complain about it all the time, and then I finally figured it out. I said, "Oh, okay, God, I understand what that is. You were helping me get ready. You know what I mean? You were helping me get ready." And I was one of the younger ones, and still probably, right now, just like you. You're kind of head of your family because everybody's coming to you for everything.
Absolutely.
So hey, you got something over there, right? Yeah. Dallas Cowboys, they're coming to get whatever they need. So it also prepares you. But no doubt in my mind, it was those 16 brothers and sisters and me being the 15th down towards the end and having to work with all of them and make sure I wait my turn or earn my moment. So yeah, that I give the credit to. But then you take this talent and you take it to the University of Miami, right? Because you talk about not having, and I relate to that, right? Relate to that, but then you separate from the pack, right? You're no longer, you'll always be the 15th of 17th, right. But then you go away and you become one of one. Never came back.
I'm the same way.
Never came back.
I'm the same way. But you go to this place and you become one of one now.
Right.
And now you're not fighting for somewhere to sleep.
Right.
And you're not fighting for a meal.
Right.
And you do have.
Well, they give me somewhere to sleep, and they gave me meals.
Right.
But I was still fighting for somewhere to sleep and meals. I was fighting for all the people that are coming with me.
Ah, okay.
You see,
okay.
Dude, I got $25 every weekend and sent 15 home. Because this was, there were no NILs back then. We got $25 on the weekend money. You kept 10. I went and bought a little box of cornflakes. It was 99 cents. A little sugar. It was 69 cents. And I ate that with water. Cornflakes and sugar with water. And I sent that $15 home, But so I was, in essence, because during the week, they had the training table over. So I had the meal. They had given me an apartment. It's so funny, man. My first trip visiting, I think I took Syracuse. I think I went to Syracuse, Michigan State. Lorenzo White and I went to Michigan State, and then I went to Syracuse. And when I got to Syracuse, they offered me my own apartment. I was like, what they said, yeah, this is going to be your apartment. Is it my apartment? I said, where I sign? They said, you can't sign. I said, I'll sign right now. I'll sign right now. I was in Syracuse. Donnie McPherson was showing me around. I was like, listen, man, for my own, I ain't got to sleep with all them jokers.
Yeah.
Oh, I signed right now. Where y'all got this? Said, Micah, you can't do it. I was going to get, then I went to Miami and they had apartments too. I just thought, so, I just wanted to get out of sleeping with them 7 jokers that I was sleeping with, because we only had 2 rooms, 9 girls and, 7 boys over here, 8 boys over here. You had to sleep like we had to sleep. Yeah. And we all piled up in that room. So yeah, man, it was interesting taking those trips and then learning. But, man, yeah, I brought all of that with me. When I got to Miami, I got into it the first days there, my first days there, because I was on a mission. Dude. I was like, I'm here. I'm not here to play games. I got to get my family. I got to get them out. So I came right in telling guys, listen, I'm serious about my business here. So they had to test me, and we got all into it, and that's how Jimmy and I got tight. Jimmy was like, man, you're a little feisty ass freshman. He said, listen, you're going. I like that you're feisty, but we can't be fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? So Jimmy's always been my man. But yeah, ever since I came in, I had things, but I've always been fighting for those that God has put under my kingdom. Right. That's what I mean. When the Bible says, let it be done on earth as it is in heaven. What does God mean by that? What does he mean by that? In heaven, God is the king of his domain. If we are created in image and likeness, on earth, men, we are supposed to be the kings of our domain. All that he has given me, I will take care of. And I will deal. I will, and even he's giving me. I didn't know he was going to give me. I didn't know that our paths were going to cross back then. Right. But it did, and you know what I mean. Had we not followed through with the plan to do that, so had we, all of that, he's setting it all up, man, and that's what I so appreciate.
So staying in Miami right now, so you get there, you're this feisty freshman, and you and others, you take this program. You take this program to new heights. Right.
You're right. And mixing that in is right. Because, remember when Kyle Snellenberger got there, that's who recruited me. Miami was not good.
Right.
They've been losing forever. Howard Snellenberger, and you guys got to understand, Miami.
And before you get there, Miami back then, this wasn't ACC football, Miami. This was Big East football. Right. This is when you came up in this time, it was the Notre Dames, it was the Penn States of those were the teams that the Syracuses of the world, like those were the teams that were kind of in the especially in the Big East. You had the those top Florida. Yes. Miami wasn't in that conversation. No.
Miami was nowhere in any of it.
Right.
I mean, anywhere.
So why Miami over the Floridas or the Florida States or the other
Miami
places?
Because Howard Snellenberger, when he had come in to Miami. You understand? Well, we live where Miami is called Coral Gables, Florida. This is the most affluent area in probably South Florida. Coral Gables. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Brothers didn't even go in Coral Gables. No joke.
Yeah.
No joke. You're like, man, I ain't going to Coral Gables, man. They'll arrest you for walking around Coral Gables. So Miami's a private school, very affluent. Brothers didn't go to Coral Gables. They brought Howard Snellenberger in. They had been losing. Howard said, we could win if you give me the power to do what I need to do. They said, well, what do you need to do?
Get some brothers.
I need to go to the ghettos.
Yes.
He said, I'm going to the ghettos.
I'm going to the pork and bean project.
All you have to do is give me permission to go into the ghettos and get all these brothers.
All them folks
you got
out there.
Everything you need here.
The sugar cane fields. All about them chasing the rabbits. I need them.
All of them Adrian James Edge just called me too. Adrian James, all them old bad boys. All right. And dude, they said, okay, we're tired of losing. We want to win. Howard came and got us. And I mean, I love what they did. They let us know, they were like, listen, guys, we're going to give you a hell of an opportunity. You asked why not go. I had LSU, Florida State. Bobby Bowden was there. I love Bobby Bowden. But to be home, and then to build something. Dude, My greatest joy is in knowing that I wasn't given anything. We had to earn it. Miami, that was the beginning of Miami. It wasn't like it was a powerhouse. That was the beginning. We built it into that. You know, I personally started that U stuff. I personally started the U. On the U, gave it to Miami to use. I trademark all of that. Personally. Then I did the whole campaign because we used to be called the Kings. I'm going to tell you how I got to the U. How I got to calling it the U. I will give you that in a minute here. Because I don't know that many people know how we got called the U. But I'm going to give that to you, you know. But it was everything. And Howard Snellenberger came in, and he got all of those guys out the ghetto, and he made us a pact. He was like, listen, guys, this is an opportunity. This is not just an opportunity for you. This is an opportunity for all these young brothers that are coming up in these ghettos after you. Yeah. What will you do with this opportunity or determine the opportunities that they have? And then Howard brought us in, from all over. And then Jimmy came in the next year, and what Jimmy did, he even took it to another level. Jimmy took it off the football field, and I get emotional talking about it because he's so good.
That's real.
Hold on. Jimmy took us. We're a lot of guys coming from a lot of broke areas. We had nothing, man. And we all knew it. And Jimmy would always tell us, he said, listen, I'm not going to let you guys, I'm not going to let guys use y'all. He said, we're going to make sure that we're using them too. He said, now, every Thursday we're going to meet. We met every Thursday night. He said, every Thursday night, all of us. And he said, I don't want anybody talking football in this room. We're only going to talk about what we're going to be doing after football or without football. You know, he said, I know many of you guys probably didn't have people in your area, in your life that are set up and put a plan together about life. He said, but we're going to do this. And every Thursday, bar none, he would get a pile of, he'd go and order a lot of Whoppers or Big Macs and bring them in the room and pass them out. And we would all come in there, sit down, and we have to discuss. What's the plan, man? What are you planning on doing beyond football and after football? Are you studying the right things to get there? And I look back now, one of my boys supposed to be coming over here today, Mel Brad. All of the guys, all of my guys, all those guys that were in that room, that Jimmy would bring in that room, are still running a race today. It worked. It worked. And people ask all the time, so what's the greatest advice? I said, man, get a plan. Get a plan and put it together. Put a plan together. That's you got to put a plan and then work that plan. And that's why I say, do what you have to do before you do what you want to do. Most people in life wake up and only think about doing what they want to do. When you work the plan will tell you what you have to do. Yeah. Do what you have to do before you do what you want to do. Hey, man, let's go over here and do this. Man, I would love to do, but I got to do this right here. I'll call y'all right after I'm done. Yeah. You know what I mean? Jimmy would always tell us those things. All of that. Hey, each day you must get better, or each day you must make a choice to get better, or get worse. If you make a choice to do nothing, you made a choice to get worse. Because if you made a choice, Jimmy would say that, each day you wake up, and I do this to this day. I wake up, when I get up in the morning, I don't grab my phone and start scrolling. Most people do that. As soon as you get up, boom, grab phone. That's the worst thing to do because you just interjected the world and its issues into your setup for the day. Now, before you're out of bed, you're already consuming the world's issues, but you haven't even prepped yourself for your win, for your victory for the day. I like to get up, man. Get up, put toothbrush to tooth in the morning. I'm in the mirror, boy, hey, let's go whoop their ass today. Let's go. I'm in the, and this stuff Jimmy told us to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Right? You got to talk it. You got to speak it. Let's go get it done. So I'm just so thankful to have that, man. I'm so thankful to have, like what I call the miracles on my journey. The George Smith, the guy that came and he literally got me off the streets of Fort Lauderdale to bring me to St. Thomas when I got kicked out of high school. Then Jimmy, who I got in a fight the first day there, broke a tray across this dude's head. Should have gotten sent right back to the ghetto.
Yeah.
Then 2 weeks later, break a linebacker's jaw in a fight. Jimmy said to me, dude, do you want to be a boxer or a football player?
Yeah.
Like, we can't keep doing this. You know what I'm saying? We can't keep doing this, dog. He said, you know, I'm here with you, but we can't keep doing this, man. But I call all of those guys, man, Miss Jones. Miss Jones stayed with me. Let me tell you something, man. When I got kicked out of public school and they came and got me, St. Thomas came and got me off the streets of Fort Lauderdale, literally off the streets of Fort Lauderdale. And they said, listen, we got faith in you. We believe you can be successful. We know your family situation. They said, all we're asking is that you let us undergird you. Let us help you. Let us try to help your family. And when you make it, we just say, don't forget us. When you make it, like we know you could. I ain't know I could.
Right.
They said, like we know you could. You know, they gave me Miss Jones. She was my tutor. My junior year in high school. I could, my old school, after they kicked me out, they said, well, you know, no, we'll take them back. We'll take them back. Now that I was going to this school, we'll take them back. And I was like, no, I'm going to stay over at St. Thomas because it's a college prep school. My grades were garbage. They were all garbage. It was nothing. You know, that's why I was getting kicked out of school. And Miss Jones, you know, when I transferred, the old school took me to court, my high school. They said the court ruled, because I said I made the transfer for academic reasons to prepare for college. They said to me, if that's the case, you can stay at St. Thomas, but you cannot play sports. Or you can return to your old high school and play sports. So you know, this was literally a ruling. They literally sued me. The high school sued me and sued St. Thomas, said they illegally recruited me, even though I got kicked out of school. You know. So when the ruling came down, I couldn't play my whole junior year. The whole junior year, they set me out. I was thinking, oh man, I was doing nothing at the other school though. I was literally doing nothing. I mean, doing all the wrong things. So I said, okay, I'm gonna sit out. And it was the hardest decision I made because I was wondering what kind of trouble I'm gonna get in not having sports.
Right.
But I used to be crying. I was a kid, you know. It was my new friends, and I wanted to play with them, and they, you know, and I was literally crying in the locker room when Miss Jones came and got me, and she said, "Baby, don't worry about these people. They're trying to hurt you." She said, "But what the devil meant for evil, God gonna make it good." You know, she said, "We need this time. We really, Michael, we really need this time to catch you up academically." She spent so much time with me, hours every day. When they're playing the games, we're studying, you know, and you know, it's those people that matter most. I think now back and I look up when I'm praying. I tell her, "Oh, baby, we made it." You know, she's not here. I graduated after my junior year in college. I left and went to the draft after my junior year. I graduated. Back then, you had to graduate to leave early. But I also controlled the draft. Like when Green Bay called with the 7th pick, I was like, no, no way, Green Bay. Because as a junior, I could drop a class, go back to school, and then they would lose the draft choice. Right. So I was like, no way, Green Bay. I already knew, I swear, I knew I was going to play in Dallas, and that I wanted to play in Dallas. Jimmy had already told me, you know, that Jerry was going to buy the team. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So I knew what was going to happen here a year before. But Miss Jones said to me, "Baby, we need this time." And she's gone on from time to eternity. And every chance I get, I tell her, thank you. Thank you. We worked every day, dude. I made a plan. She said, my broadcasting, all of it. That's why I studied communication. Everything I'm doing was a plan that she made with me in high school. Jimmy made us reiterate it all the time on those Thursday nights. And we're here. All of those people I called a miracle on my journey. No way am I sitting here without them. And like you open this show, I give them all the love, but I know God put them there to be those miracles on my journey, and I'm thankful for that. So it's been a journey, but I'm blessed.
No, wow. And like even when you talk about these people upon your journey, Jimmy, the lady from your high school, Miss Jones, you get emotional.
Yeah.
You get emotional, and people will look at you and say, "Man, Michael Irvin is a man's man, right? He is what a man's man is." And the emotion that you have shown, just goes along and tells me just how much those people meant to you, and we understand that on this journey that we take. One of the things I hate when I hear people say, I hate it. I hate the self-made thing. I hate when people say, I'm self-made. I'm like, that's bull.
Ain't no such thing.
That's bull. There's somebody along the way that gave you a helping hand in something. Yeah, I hate when people say that. And then I hear you talk about Miss Jones.
Right.
I hear you talk about Jimmy and all these people who looked at you as a person. Because a lot of times we get looked at as an athlete, as a commodity, as something that people just use up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And to stay on the Jimmy front, when people hear you talk about Jimmy Johnson, it's not because of everything he did for you as a football player or a football coach. It's what he gave to you man to man.
Right.
It was that father figure type situation where he loved you in spite of.
Right.
That he cared for you no matter what you did, no matter what they said, because I'm sure, I'm positive there were a ton of people at Miami and said, get this, send him back.
Yeah.
Send him, this one, send him back.
Yeah.
He got to go. Again?
Right, we're here again.
With this guy? Right. No, and I know that Jimmy had to be in there like, wait a second now, hold on, this one, this mine. This mine. I'm sure there were others like that in that journey.
And George Smith, the guy that came and got me off the street, right? And I had lost my dad that junior year when we were fighting for me to play. My dad had died. And, he died my first game my senior year. My dad's never watched me play football. Just never watched me play. All the kids, he had to work when I was playing in the Little League and all of that stuff. And then when I finally made the change, he was like, I'm so proud of your son. You're making a decision to do right and do good things. And he said, I can't wait to watch you play at St. Thomas, because after I decided to sit out. And then 3 days before that game, he died. He had a brain and throat tumor. I can tell you guys this, though. That was, because I was just around the time, about that age to drive. And for some reason, my dad said to me, he said, son, I'm going to have you drive me to and from the doctor. I was like, okay, I just want to drive anyway. You know what I mean? I'm 16, 17, I'm just driving. But it was so wild to see it, to watch him go. He had a brain and throat tumor, and he went through some things, One day one leg would be big, the other one would be small, and they'll switch up the other leg's big. And I took him to the doctor one time, and I heard him say to the doctor, he said, Doc, how much longer do I have to deal with this? And the doctor said, Mr. Irvin, is the pain that great? He said, a physical pain I can bear, but the pain of my family seeing me this way. I'm like, dude, I know this dude going through all that kind of pain he has to be going through. I'm watching, I'm driving him, but to hear him say that, it kind of tells you what a father is and what a man's responsibility is. And I kind of, I was like, wow. Coming up, my dad was a pastor. He used to always give me these old funny lessons, like, son, life is about, as being a man, is about making decisions and living or dealing with the consequences. I was okay. So, I thought I got slick one time, right? I said, okay. So they come to get me one day. I said, hey, I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to quit school. I don't need school, quit school. He said, okay, no problem. And he said, all right. I said, then he came next day. I said, what's up? I said, I quit school, Dad. He said, make a decision. He said, yeah, but I told you, consequences also. He said, Your decision to quit school is okay. But the consequence, you got to go to work with me.
Right.
Come on, let's go. I was like, what? Oh, okay. My dad did roofing. Hoo-hoo, nigga, let me tell y'all right now. I went out there just the first day I was carrying mud buckets, cement buckets. My job was to make the cement, put it in the bucket, lift both buckets up, take it under the ladder, and then hoist it up to get on the roof so we can lay the tile. Then go up on the roof and start carrying them and dumping them out so they can lay.
School didn't go bad.
I did this jump one day. One day, that joker tried to wake me up the next day. Hey, I made another decision. He said, I said, I'm going back to school. He said, oh, okay. I thought you would make that decision. I went back to school. But then he made me work every summer with him. But what I did was I took the pant and the shirt that was full with cement. It was on my wall in my locker. It was on my wall at college. My mindset was, if I don't make this work, that's going to be my work. And I wasn't going to make that my work. You see, I put this, the fear of success or the fear of me succeeding here against the fear of me having to do that. I'm going to face this fear. We going to succeed here because I'm not going back to that. And it worked out.
And that turned the University of Miami into, from
also onto the top of the rock.
To the top of the rock. Right?
We went to the top of the rock. We won 58. So we got there. We won 58 straight home games. Still a record to this day. Do you, man? That means that's like 3-4 years we didn't lose a game.
When you have no blueprint. There's no blueprint. There's no blueprint for you guys, right? So when you come there and you're now actually, when you think of the process, you're mixing the cement of the success for the U. Who were some players that was on that team that came together, whether they were young like you or older? And we could start when Jimmy got there that said, we are going to change who we are. We ain't going to be the Canes. We're going to be the U.
Let me tell you how that came out.
Okay.
Let me tell you how that came. And I'm going to be straight with y'all because you're my boy. I'm going to be straight. When I got, after we turned to U and winning every year, doing everything, winning all the championships and then everything, and then I get in the NFL and I have a great career here, and after my career here, I was working at Fox, best damn sports show, and it's so funny because ESPN called and said, we have a position opening and we would like for you to come in and read for it. I said, okay, I'll come in. And it's so funny how life works. You know, I went in and read for it and they gave me a job. And I was going to be working with Chris Berman and Tom Jackson. Funny, Sterling Sharp had the job before. You know, I'm going to tell you this, dude. Sterling Sharp had the job before. After my first Super Bowl, right? After my first Super Bowl in Pasadena, I was so amazed because we had gone from 1-15 to 3-30. I sat in the locker room. I was the last person to leave. I didn't want to leave. I just sat in there because of the whole journey. Miami, we didn't start. It wasn't great. We built it. Dallas didn't start. We had to build it. And I wanted to just sit there. And I was the last person to leave. And when I finally got ready to leave, it was this guy. He said, hey, man, it was Jim Rome's producer. Okay. He said, man, if you come in and give us 5 minutes, Michael, he said, I promise you I won't forget it. He said, man, one day I'm going to be running ESPN, and I will not forget this. I promise you, man. I said, well, 5 minutes, let's go. Well, you 5, you 10. Right. I ain't got nowhere to go. Right. I just want a Super Bowl. Let's talk. Boy, my first Super Bowl, boy. Hey, well, I must sat down with Jim Rome about 45 minutes. He said, y'all got 5, they got 45. I have 45. I want to talk about this, boy. I brought this from 1-15 4 years ago. Yeah. We can sit here, whatever you want to talk about, let's talk. Yeah. Let's go. I sat there about a good hour, and then I left. I got ready to leave. The dude, Mark, his name was Mark, he said, hey, I promise you, man, one day I'm running ESPN. I'm coming. You did me a square here. I said, no, man, I wasn't doing that for that. I was, and then years later, I retired and working at Best Damn. Sterling and all of those guys are doing Countdown with Chris Berman. And you remember Keyshawn. It's so funny. I work with Keyshawn now. We laugh about this too. Keyshawn, after he won that Super Bowl, I think 09 or whatever, one of those years, he won a Super Bowl. Him and Sterling had been going at it. Keyshawn, as soon as he won the Super Bowl, he looked in the ring, looked in the camera and said, "Hey, Sterling," because Sterling works for ESPN. "Hey, Sterling, I just won my Super Bowl. My brother ain't have to give me this." Right on live TV. Live TV, cutting them up. We cut them up. So now you fast forward, right? It's off season. They're bringing me in. I know this has happened. I watched this. So when I go in, they're talking to me, and they told me it was for Sterling, but don't say anything to anybody because they haven't talked to Sterling yet, and I understood that Sterling was a great friend of mine because me, Sterling, and Tim Brown came in together, and we're still tight right there, all three of us in the Hall of Fame. Sterling, congratulations, my brother. He got in this year. So now all three of us are in the Hall of Fame. That's so blessed. And he should have been in if he wouldn't have gotten hurt. Because remember when I told you, Green Bay called me with the 7th pick.
Right.
Green Bay called me first. I was like, you ain't going to Green Bay. I'm leaving Miami, dude. Yeah. I ain't going to Green Bay.
Ain't going that cold.
My whole family started chanting, "No way, Green Bay, no way." We the brokest people in the world. And we hollering, "No way, Green." We got right. And so they drafted Sterling. And so now we fast forward. I'm sitting here. I'm going in, doing the interview. And I'm sitting there with all the execs around ESPN, and they're sitting there asking me questions. I'm I'm knocking them out, answering. And then we get ready to leave. I stand up. I said, "Thank you guys for this interview. I appreciate it." And I got ready to walk. I said, one last thing. I said, I was watching the game, Super Bowl, and I saw the issue you guys had when Keyshawn looked right at your lead analyst and said, "I got me a ring, and my brother didn't have to give it to me." I threw my 3 rings on the table. I said, "You won't have to have that problem anymore." And walked out. They said, Stop. You got the job." I said, "Get my rings." I told my agent, "Get my rings." I said, we'll send you a contract. We'll start working the contract. But that's how I got that job to work at ESPN. Now, let me give it. I remember the first Sunday I'm headed to go work. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, dude. I'm thinking to myself, I was panicking on this, too. This is literally how we got to the U. We were called the Canes before that. I'm thinking, because you remember Chris Berman and Tom Jackson, and every time Tom went to Louisville, every time Chris Berman would have a player that went to Louisville, he would say, "Such and such did this, Tom. Where are you from?" Tom said, "Louisville." You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm thinking, oh, my God. Do you know how many Miami players are in the league? Chris Berman is going to say to me, this is my first day going to work with him. Chris Berman going to say, "Where is he from? Where is he from?" And I'm like, oh, my God. And I had already got my little issue with the White House in the hotel room and all that. And I'm like, I don't want to say no hurricanes. Right. Canes. I don't want to say nothing with cane because I don't want nobody here to go to cocaine. No kind of cane. No kind of cane. No sugar cane. No sugar cane. No hurricane cane. No kind of cane. I'm trying to get a fresh start out here. I swear this is how we got to it. I swear I was like, no, man, I'm not saying. And I said, Miami. See, from Miami, that didn't sound right, man. I mean, I was sweating bullets going to that first show. What am I going to say? And I thought about it. I said, hell, man, the cool going. I said, oh, yeah, you on the side of the helmet. I promise you. And I was panicking. I ain't want to say it. And he finally came. I don't know if it was Willis McGahee or somebody made a play. And he said, "Michael, where is he from?" I said, "The U." That was the first time we did it. That was the first time we said the U. Nobody ever called. We're a small university. How are we going to be called the university? All I remember, we had that U on the side of our helmet. Okay, the U. Then I called my attorney. I said, "Man, that U thing sounds good." I said, "Let's trademark. So we went and got it together. Then the next offseason, Donna Shalala, who was the president at Miami at times, she said, we really want to do a campaign with that you that you be saying all the time on TV. Because, we got all this, dude.
Yeah.
We had everybody in the league.
Yeah.
It was the you. It just went crazy. That next offseason, I go to Miami and we do the campaign. I do the commercial in Miami. I said, when you come into the U, this is not enough. This is too much. This is just right. Always has been, always will be. All about the U. That's how it rolled.
Wow.
Rolled like that, man. And now I didn't even understand the magnificence of it when I said it. I was just trying to get off the cocaine stuff. So you know what I'm saying? To be honest with you. But to say you are the U, that's the university of all U's.
Right.
The university of all universities. As years passed, it really kind of crystallized, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now everywhere, everybody knows us by the U.
I love it, the fact that you just glossed right over the fact that you went and got it copywritten. The U.
And then get back, this year, right? We went back because guy had this shirt that when you put your arms up like this, it shows the U. I was wearing it on the sideline of all the games. You see me doing this right here, and I was like, wow, that's so crazy. I thought when I met this guy and I saw this shirt, I said, and he said, I've been selling a few. I said, oh, really? I said, these kinds of shirts are emotional buys. I said, let me buy it. I bought the whole company. I was wearing the shirt on the sideline, and then put it in the stores in Miami. Sold out quickly. They're gone. They're sold out. So it's so funny how I come back to that same product, that what I like to call revelatory gift that God gave me on my way to the show to say to you to get off of the cane. You're right. That revelatory gift, how it perpetuated itself, and even to this day, it's still reverberating.
I got to give you my quick U story. In high school, I was being recruited by the U. Randy Shannon.
Right.
Larry
roommate.
Right. Larry Coker. Larry Coker is the head coach. This is 2002. So they're winning national champion. They got 21 dudes drafted. I mean, this is 2002 to 2001, 2002.
You'd have fitted well, though.
Right. So
great,
Randy Shannon comes to my school, comes to Roselle, New Jersey, right? And I didn't. I'm
that's so. Wait. Stop.
Listen,
insane.
I'm about to tell you.
Randy shit.
Listen,
Randy and I, we were roommates. Man, God, that's my boy. That
so
was my guy, 6D.
So watch this. So Randy Shannon comes to Roselle, New Jersey. He's sitting in my coach's office. I don't know him, and he's there to see me. We're in the same office. He's facing this way. I'm sitting at a desk facing the opposite way. My coach walks in and says, "Coach, how you doing? How's everything going?" He's like, "I'm good. He's here to see Jesse Holley." He looks at me. I turn around. He goes, "He's been sitting here with you the whole time." So now, I'm one of the hottest things going right now.
Right.
And my thing was, Michigan State, Ohio State, Michigan, you name it. I'm telling everybody I'm playing two sports at the next level. I'm playing two sports. I can play football and basketball.
I wish I'd have done that.
So I'm sitting there, and this is the first time I really kind of heard the U. Because Randy Shannon is referring to Miami as the U. Yeah. And he's looking at me and he said, he's giving me his spiel. And I said, "Yeah, coach, I said, I'm looking to play basketball and football at the next level." He said, "I'm going to stop you right there." I said, "Okay." Now, mind you, I've met with 20 schools, and they've all said, whatever you like.
Whatever you need. Whatever you like. Till we get you here, we'll talk about that later.
Randy Shannon looked at me. He said, Randy said,
let
me tell you how we're going to do it at the U. I said, right? He says, at the U, won't be no basketball and football. At the U, you will either commit yourself 100% to football. You may be able to run track in the offseason. At the U, and he kept saying, at the U, at the U, at the U. And I'm sitting and I'm just like, and I wanted to go to school I wanted to go to Miami or Florida State. And he left that day, and I said to myself, well, I ain't going to the U But that stuck out to me because he referred to the school. He never called it the University of Miami. He never said the Hurricanes. The entire time we talked, he said the U. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm glad I didn't go to the U. Not because of football. Not because
Right. I know.
Somebody would have killed me.
Yeah.
Because the ladies,
listen.
I'm being
dead ass.
I'm being
You're
real.
being dead ass.
I knew I was this inner city kid from Jersey who would have came to the South with this attitude of I'm from the North and these country boys down here and these women down there in Miami. I was like, I would have been chasing them. I know me. That particular brand of women.
Well, right, no doubt.
Was my flavor.
Right. It's a lot of people.
And so.
That's why Miami ain't no joke.
Yeah, because I remember coming to North Carolina. You talked about how you came in as a freshman, and I remember coming in as a freshman at UNC, and I told the entire football team, I said, let me tell you something right quick, clear. Don't confuse friendship with teammates. I said, we're teammates, and I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability each and every day.
Right.
But if we ain't friends, your girl ain't off limits to me. And so they said, well, how we know when we friends? I said, if you got to ask, we ain't friends. And I was clear with that. And I said, man, and then as I got older, I was like, man, one of them Zoe Pound jokers, one of them dreadhead gold mouth jokers would have had me hanging. They'd have had me hanging from a balcony. So I'd have failed. I would have failed at Miami. So it was cool that Randy Shannon said that to me.
To help you out.
And he helped me.
He helped me.
Like, you know what, that ain't the place for me. After we of course at the time they came to the ACC and we played there. I played in Miami multiple times. You look up in the crowd and you like, God damn.
That thing is
and you looking around and you think about it, you said it's gonna be warm all year. They look like I tell people to this day, and I won't say her name, but I had a really good friend of mine who she wanted to move her family to Miami because she was getting a better job. And I told her, I said, listen, I said, if you trust my word any way, shape, or form, listen to me and listen to me good. I said, you North Carolina pretty. You ain't Miami. I told her that. I said, it's no disrespect. I said, if you think you're gonna take your husband and your new family to Miami,
don't do that.
And you gonna prosper. I said, it's like you don't think. I said, honey, you might. I said, you are North Carolina cute. I said, you ain't Miami pretty. I said, you are setting him up and your family up for failure. But let's get. I did
a podcast. I did a podcast with Andrew Schultz. Andrew Schultz. He's a comedian.
Yes.
And he was asking me. He was like, Michael, what was it like when you guys win the Super Bowls, man, and you the Cowboys, man? It must have been. I said, it must have been incredible. I said, yeah. He said, what's it like going to the hotel and all the women? I said, man, we're directed, man. I was focused. I didn't have any issues with them. I was worried about what I was going to be doing on Sunday. So I was able to stay focused. I said, I never had problems with women unless they were IENs. He was like, what's that? What do you mean? What do you mean? What is IEN? I said, Colombians, Brazilians, Italians, Puerto Ricans, all of them are in Miami. All of them are in Miami. Yes. All of those IANs, all of those exotics. Yes. And, man, they are exotic down there.
Yeah, man.
I wanted to, man, I was going to play with Dallas. I was a Dolphin fan because, Miami is right there, too. Big Dan Marino fan. Dan Marino's the only person in my champion room that doesn't have a championship. I wanted to play with him so bad. But I thank God. that no, I couldn't have dated him.
No, absolutely. I want to go back to something. I don't want us to miss this point. You talked about it earlier. You said, you got to a point, you were graduated as a junior, we're getting ready to go to the NFL, and Jimmy, close confidant to you, a father to you,
right.
And you told Green Bay, no way, Green Bay.
I've been blessed in that sense that, after losing my father, Coach George Smith took over. And when George passed me on to Jimmy, because Howard recruited me. Mm-hmm. Jimmy and I came in. I came in and Jimmy got the job. And I was thinking about, I just lost my real father. I was, wanted to be close to my mom. And Coach said, yeah, you should go to Miami. Him and Jimmy had just met and they gotten close. And he said, Jimmy promises me he's going to take care of you. He's new. He promises. St. Thomas is a hotbed for athletes. Mm-hmm. He said, Coach George said, he don't want to fuck me over.
Right.
He's coming back.
He gonna
to get more players.
Yeah.
He don't want to.
Yeah.
He said, I trust him. He'll look after you. You'll be close to your mom. I promise your mom I'm going to look after you. And so when he handed me to Jimmy, so that's why I didn't know that later on that's why Jimmy didn't send me home. Because Jimmy, he had already told Jimmy, he said, listen, he's going through stuff. He just lost his father. He's serious about trying to move his family out. He said, so Jimmy was patient with me. He said, I was patient. He said, Michael, I'm going to be here as long as you are here, but we can't be fighting teammates. We can't. He kept trying to tell me this. We can't be fighting teammates. So fast forward, and he was always there, and he was always for me. He was always with me. You fast forward, I'm getting ready now to go in the draft. Coach comes to me. He says, Michael, I know what you're doing, because Bernie Kosar had did it to get to Cleveland. My dad was a Cowboy fan. I wanted to play in Dallas. And if I went in Dallas, it was going to be New York or L.A. Norv Turner was with me on the draft during the draft. Mm-hmm. Norv Turner was the wide receiver coach for the Rams. I was supposed to go play with Henry Ellert that year. They were going to draft me. Norv was with me for that draft, and Jimmy had told me before. He said, "Listen," he said, "the Dallas Cowboys are going to draft you." He said, "None of that shenanigans with the Dallas Cowboys." I said, "Oh, Coach, that's why I want to go." He said, "I'm just letting you know." He said, "Because I got a friend of mine, an oil buddy. He's about to buy the team." He said, "I may be joining you next year." Now, I just got drafted by Tom Landry.
Right.
Good Tom Landry.
Right.
You'll tell me you going to go ahead with Tom Landry.
Right.
Yeah, that was me. It was a mind boom. But I was like, okay, coach. But I wanted to go to Dallas anyway, so when Dallas drafted me, I wasn't going to play. Dallas didn't even call. Green Bay called. Dallas didn't even call. They just went up and drafted me. I was like, hey, wait a minute, man. I did all that work. Give me my power. Give me my phone call, But I wasn't going to play with it, man, because we were all Cowboy fans. That's where I wanted to go, man. I was just so happy, man. And then couple, next year, Jimmy came in after. It's so funny because that first year I got here, I know what Jimmy is. I know how he is. And the guys, we were playing games, and I know what it was going to be, how Coach is going to be, how it was in Miami. We didn't lose. And we didn't lose at nothing. You can't lose at anything and be okay with it. So the first few games we lose here in Dallas, I'm crying. I'm literally crying because I hadn't lost in high school and then losing in college. I'm coming here. I'm literally boo-hoo crying. Right. Crying. I mean, tears up my eye. I mean, snot up my nose. I remember scoring my first touchdown. My rookie year, first starter since Bob Hayes. Got Rod Woodson on the field. Boom, I catch a curl. I'm on the other side. I catch a curl. Rod run from the other side, and he tackles me in the end zone. I look up, bam, spike it in his face. I said, this shit easy. I'm finna kill this league. Right, dog, they whooped our tail, dog. Hey, boy, I was crying so hard in that locker room, man. And them dudes were coming up. I couldn't believe this, though. Kid Norton and I, because he was the second-round pick. We always talk about it. He was coming from UCLA, and he had done some winning. We was like, man, I couldn't believe what it's like. After we lost that game, every dude, they were in there laughing, joking, and we boohoo crying. They talking about, come on, man, it's the NFL. We pick up checks on Tuesday. I'm like, what the what? Oh, my God, man, I couldn't take that, man. Went through that whole year, 3-13. I'm crying after every loss. And these jokers tapping me and talking about, we'll pick up that check on Tuesday. Dude, when Jimmy came in that next year, man, his first day
when he came in, what was the response from Michael Irvin when Jimmy came in? What was the first conversation y'all had?
Dude, we were over at the facility. Now, I'm going through a 3-13 season. I'm watching all these chumps all these dudes, man, coming up to me talking about, man, come on, man, let's pick up that check on Tuesday. Pick up that check on Friday. I'm like, oh my God, man. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. That next year we said, we make the deal, Jimmy's coming in. We were over at practice working out, and they were trying to say, hey, everybody, we're going to come up, have a meeting, and we're going to do this. I was like, I'm not doing anything. This regime is, I was so pissed at how careless we had gotten with winning around here. That first year didn't go well. I came in, I'm trying to work. Let's go, guys. Oh man, this freshman trying to do too much. This rookie trying to do too much. I was like, man, what the hell y'all mean, man? What's going on here? Dude, I'm telling dudes, I said, I don't need friends. I need wins. I don't need friends. I don't, so I'm going, man, it was a rough first year because a lot of jokers, they were happy. They were satisfied. They were like,
collecting that check.
Right, we can collect that check. Why we got to go through all this? Why you care so much, man? Jimmy came in, dude, I'm telling you, and we were practicing, and they were like, we're going to do this. I said, I ain't doing nothing. Because, and I didn't want to come off as being disrespectful to Tom, but it was that whole process I was done with. I had to put a whole year in that shit. I ain't lose in high school. I lost 2 games in college, and now I lost 13 games, and I'm the only one in here crying. You broke jokers are happy with this and okay with it, and now you want to talk about, man, I was so hot. Man, I said, I ain't doing nothing. I went home, right? 2 days, Jimmy was in that office. I was there waiting on Jimmy. Open the door for him. Come on here. We walked right in that room and sat down, dude. I slid a list. He said, what's this? I said, all their asses got to go. Everybody that touched me talking about picking up a check, your ass got to go. Because it ain't.
Now, wait.
You got to go. No, dude, I'm just dead ass. I'm dead
So
ass.
I know.
Dead ass.
What most people would say, you snitched.
Yeah. I snitched. I pruned.
You pruned.
I call it prune.
You cut off all the
I call it
weight.
pruning. All of that shit that wasn't going for championships, it had prune. Because I'm telling you, I know how Jimmy thinks. I know how he thinks. He's going to get rid of him sooner or later anyway. So I just want to respect the process. Because Jimmy would always tell us. He always said, listen, guys, we have to be on one accord and one machine, and we can get everything. Everybody came in here for a different reason. But if we on one accord and after one thing, everybody can get what they came for. So if you came to be famous, if you came to get rich, if you came for women, if we aim for women, we ain't gonna get nothing. If we aim for rich, we ain't gonna get nothing. If we aim for fame, we ain't gonna get it. But if we all aim for winning, all y'all can get that stuff.
That's true.
It's got to be. If everybody aim on winning, you can get the money, you can get the fame, you get the girl, you get all that stuff. All that comes with winning. You see what I mean? All of it comes with winning. And so that stuck with me. I got here and I said, dude, this is what it's about. This is what it's about. And man, yeah, we had to get rid of them. And Jimmy got rid of them. And then that's when we started turning around. You got to clean out things because it's just like when I first got fourth and long. Dude, they had talent. I said, you guys got talent. You got talent. It's just you have to see each opportunity like it's your last opportunity, and it'll make you bring out the best in your talent because our game is different. That's what I was trying to explain to them. Our game is different. Most of the world right now can punch a computer. They make that mug sing enough, boy, they can go to the top of their chart. The top of their, whatever profession they're in, they make the computer sing enough. If they got enough skill, they can go to the top of their chart. But in our world, it's different. It's not just about your skill. You got to improve your skill, but at the same time, you got to deepen your will. Since you're going up against another grown man, and he want to feed his family. See, the computer ain't got no family to feed, and the computer ain't got no will. You punching them, make it do what it do. But now you got to go up against another man with the will. So it's not just about our skill. It's about our collective will. Because when it gets hard, we got to look at each other and say, we're not fucking losing. Let's go. You know what I mean? Right. And that's what makes the difference. And we got to have a collective will. And the only way you get a collective will is if you're on a collective goal, and our goal has to be winning. Now we can all fight for the bottom of wins, to fight to the bottom to get the win, and everybody get what they want. It's the only way to go. I wouldn't have the rings I have if we didn't get them dudes out their locker room. Right. I'm telling you. So stop letting people tell you they're your friend and they're selling you short.
We want to name names?
No, no. They're probably living his good life, living their life. They say, why Mike throwing me down like that? Yeah. I want to put him out. But trust me, we had, and it's just, people get comfortable if they're making great money and no demand is being put upon them. And that's why I was like, dude, I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with this, man. And we turned it around.
So Jimmy comes in, you get the list, those people are out, the new folks come in, you get Troy Aikman.
Yeah, I was so happy though, right. Because after going 33-13, the next year I said, what? We draft Troy. I said, oh, it's over. I got me a quarterback. Now it's over. I'm ready, man. I got the quarterback, man.
1-15.
Now we lose 13 the first year, 15 the second year. But at least I would always say this. I was hurt, but I would look over there. Troy was hurt too. I said, okay, we can work in this pain. Right. We got pain. We got something. At least I got a common pain. We got a common pain. We got something, man. And you can work off that, and that's basically what we built on.
Was there a singular moment that you can recollect and remember on where you saw the turn, right? Yeah. Like you saw the moment you said, oh, this is over. Oh, yeah. Like this is done. Like this 3-13, this 1-15.
Gone.
Done. Was there a moment that you can remember that you could say, it was this day in practice, it was this day in training camp, it was this game?
I could tell you, dog. So I tore my knee up a second year against San Francisco. Steve Walsh came in the game, actually. I ran a post corner. I had the route, and Steve's arm is not as, Steve didn't get the ball out quick enough, and I went back at it, tore my ACL, 6th game of the season. So I missed the rest of that season, and then I come back, and not ready for the next season. I missed the first 4 games. I think the 5th game of the season playing Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That was my first game back. And we went on, I don't know what our record was at the time, but we go into that game. My first game back, I catch a corner touchdown to win the game. I was like, oh, snap. That was the first time me and Troy Emmett all got together and really played. That was the first time we all played against Tampa Bay. Then we go up and play the Rams, and that game, I go off. That game because now I'm really healthy. And then that was it. That the Rams were the kick. Coming back against Tampa, and I caught the game-winning touchdown, then go up against Rams, and that's when we said, oh, man, we got something right here. And then that following year, Emmett led rushing, I led in receiving. I remember, there's Emmett, I think it was Emmett's rookie year? Was Emmett's rookie year, I think. Yeah, I remember Emmett went home. He was driving home, and he called me and said, man, what a great year, man. I said, E, what are you doing? He said, I'm driving home. I said, dude, we're in the NFL. You should catch a plane. He said, you could have shipped your car. You got no money now. You know what I'm saying? But he going to drive all the way back. But he was talking to me while he was driving, and we were talking about next year, dude. Next year we taking off. Next year we're going somewhere. So you know what I mean? Now get this. Get the turn. The turn was we weeded out all of that. Pick up that check on Tuesday. And now I got guys like Troy and Emmett who driving home calling me, talking about what we going to do on the football field. Ain't nothing about no money. It's all about winning. You see what I mean? If your mind has to be on winning. That was the turn right there. There was no doubt we were going to do something. And not only because what we did that year, it's because the mentality we had. Emmett was like, man, that wasn't enough. We gonna go. We got to get back. We got to do it. That's when you know you got something.
You think about those teams, yourself, Emmett, Troy. You brought in Charles. You brought in Dion.
Yeah.
But you were the undoubtedly leader of that group. And we talk about leadership so much in this day and time. Did they appoint you leader, or you just, it was who you were?
Right.
And were there other leaders in there that stood toe-to-toe with you at that mantle? But it just seemed like when you hear people talk about those 90s teams, it's always, boy, Michael set the tone. Boy, Mike set the tone. Mike said this, Mike did this, and we followed.
Yeah. But, man, and let me give proper due where it should be, man. Our leader was Troy.
Okay.
Because Troy was the right one. He was right, be where he had to be, do what he had to do. Now, as I tell you, history helps so much with destiny when you look back and look at it. Like, I think about this. Me leaving my old school, going to St. Thomas. And what that taught me at the time, my perspective for white folks at the time that I left the public school, left that ghetto, and went to St. Thomas was totally different than my perspective coming out of St. Thomas. And now I'm one of the hardest brothers in the world who have got an opportunity for some white people to say to him, we believe in you. Now, I'm coming up in a ghetto where everybody's telling you, man, white folks holding you back, and now I run into these people who are doing everything opposite that I've been brainwashed with. And I'm like, oh my God, this is different, and taking me in like family and taking care of me gave me a perspective. So now we're in a locker room. I became the heart and soul of the team, not because I'm the most directed, like Troy is the most directed. I'll give him that. But I played both sides. I grew up in the ghetto and was raised by some affluent people to help me understand that side. So I would be with the black players. I'm going to be with the white players.
Right.
I'm going to expect things from the black players. I'm going to expect things from the white players, and we're all going to be together. We're going to blend the locker room. In here, it's a brotherhood.
Right.
It's not about color. That's what makes the locker room so great, man. It's not what we deal with in the world. It's about that brotherhood and the commitment to one another.
Because everybody comes from all walks, right? Affluent, poor, atheist, Christian, Muslim.
But everybody that comes with their pain from yesterday. Right. Now, think about this. I try to tell, we're 30% Caucasian, 51 Hispanic, 73 African Americans. Fathers not in the kids' lives. So now imagine those kids, especially 73 African American kids, 73%. Imagine those kids. They're growing up in their house. The mom's arguing every day, fussing about the joker that ain't helping his dad. Not thinking about, he was built an image of like his dad, but she's killing his dad. And then she's arguing about his dad, and who else she arguing about? Her boss, who's a white man. I'm pretty sure a white man. So he's arguing about the black man and the white man. She's perpetuating this all to this kid who's watching his mom in pain every day because no father is there and some boss is handling. Now that kid takes that pain and go put it on a football field and becomes a football player. And now he has to walk in the locker room and become part of a team.
Yeah.
If you don't understand both sides of it,
it's difficult.
It's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to listen to the white coach.
Right.
Because all he sees is the white man, what he did to his mom. Right. You see what I mean? And the black guy, you
can't trust him.
You can't trust him.
Right.
You can't trust him. Exactly. You can't trust him. Man, what's doing? Y'all always talking. Y'all ain't show up nowhere. So that's the difference. And you got to take that kid and work him into a team.
Right.
Troy can't do that.
Right.
Emmett can't do that.
That was the role that God designed for you to do, and that
the
was
path
the glue.
He gave me.
That was the glue that brought
we glue it together.
Brought you guys together and made everybody say, "We here for one cause, no matter where we came from,
no matter where."
Winning is the common denominator.
That's
what we have to do.
That's what we are.
You go through that time. Who's your favorite teammate from the days of you winning and grinding? Is there a teammate that you go, and I'm sure there's multiple. My boy was all my boys were, and I loved them. And it was my roommate and Troy and all of them. But I ran with the linemen. Yeah. My boy was Big E. Okay.
Big E was my tone setter.
Yeah.
He was tone setter. I had Nate, I had Tui, and they were here. And then we got Big E, and Big E became a tone setter. So when I got Big E, like any great corporation, you have a CEO, but then you have managers of departments. Every department, you know what I mean. The CEO can't run every department. He has to go check with the managers. Your department is good. Yeah, okay. So I kind of figured that's how the team should be run. So I'm going to check with Big E on the lineman, and it all starts with them.
Right.
And I took Big E first early. He had just come in, and he was a young rookie. I said, come on, spend some time with me in the steam room. We sitting in the steam. Hey, big boy, he's sitting there singing. I said, big fella, what's up? He said, I got to make the team. I said, well, what's... I said, man, I got to take care of my mom. You know, big fella, your mom took care of him. His dad wasn't there. And he said, man, I got to take care of my mom. I promised I'm going to take care of her. I said, big fella, you're going to be good. I said, listen, let me tell you what to do. I said, when Troy gets in that huddle and we call the play and we get to the line of scrimmage, he goes, blue 18, set. When he says set, I want you to look your head up at that mug across from you and say, motherfucker, you trying to stop me from feeding my mama. Then he gonna say hut. Hey, I told him in the steam room, big fella, I said, man, that's how you play. Every play. Man, that joke, we get out there, man, and look up, boy, I'm telling you, I've had Reggie White. I've had Michael Strahan. I've had so many people say, that dude crazy. That big boy crazy right there. That big boy crazy. They want no part of Big E. They want no part of it. So Big E was my boy. And then we got Larry Allen, man, and I ran the same thing on him. Yeah. Who you trying to do? You coming from Compton. Yeah. He said, man, I got to give my family a better life than I had in Compton. I said, blue 18. When he said set, you look up and say, you trying to stop me from giving my family a better life, motherfucker. And you tear his ass up, right? Hey, dude. Those were my boys right there, man. And, you know, I stayed with the linemen. I love Charles, you Big Cat. Yeah. Because the big boys going to run the show. You know, they're going to run the show. I go to them and say, man, we need 3 seconds. I got the play. You got to give 3 seconds. Now, you got to make that play because their big ass is going to be tired. If you don't make that play, they're going to hear. But yeah, those were my boys, always. And
it doesn't hurt when you got those dudes on your side. When you go and you tell a DB or a safety or linebacker, right. Y'all better do boo, 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 and they start barking back, and you look back, and you got LA and Big E, and they standing behind you. You ain't too worried about nothing.
Right, but I tell you what, when I used to mess with guys like Charles Mann or some of the boys, bad defensive end, Clyde Simmons. I said, you ain't shit. You ain't. And Big Toy would say, Michael, stop making him mad. You ain't got to block him. Stop making him mad. I would be like, that's because I'm talking to everybody. Man, talk to your people. Don't talking to my people. So, yeah, we have fun with that stuff, though.
Do you have a favorite Super Bowl?
The first is always the first, man. The first. It was Hollywood. It was L.A. It was the Dallas. It was built. This was our first Super Bowl. It was going to be in Pasadena, California, Rose Bowl. Oh, my God. It was incredible. We went there the first night, man. Babyface was having a big party. He had got some record label things, awards, and they were having a big party, and we all were in there, and we were being rowdy. And they were like, excuse me, in the back, can you guys please keep it down so we can commence the party? I said, we are the party. We're the Super Bowl. We are the party. You know, we will be out of here, man. There was nothing like that first Super Bowl, man. There was nothing like. And then I caught my first touchdown in that first Super Bowl. You know how many kids dream about catching the touchdown in the Super Bowl?
You talk about it in your backyard. You run the play, hey, go down to the car, make a right, catch it. I'm in the Super Bowl. To have it happen to you.
Oh my God, yeah. It's unreal. My knees buckled when I caught that pass. Boom, I was like, because I thought about all the people when I was growing up that told my mom, he ain't gonna never be nothing. That kid is bad. He gonna never be nothing. You know, I was like, man, they all saw me catch that touchdown in the Super Bowl. There's nothing. The other ones are all great, but that first is a different one.
You know, you had a way about yourself on the field, right? I like to say notably, and maybe you tell me if I'm wrong, that you and Troy, to me, famously made the Bang 8 post.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
as much as you say,
not
as you say, but like you coined the
No, that's our play.
That Bang 8, That when Troy hit that fifth step, that back foot hit.
Boom.
You was on that outside right foot, and that you cut
fifth
that thing.
Step? Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right. That thing was real.
And that was.
right.
But you had this way that when you got in the end zone, you would pump that thing up, and you would spike it like.
Right. Especially after a bang 8, because the bang 8. You explain the bang 8 is a bang bang play.
It's bang bang.
I'm going to go, and that means me and the safety are going to be looking right at the football.
It's about 2 seconds before
boom. It's going to be boom, boom. Cat comes. I got to get this thing before he get this thing.
Yeah.
Boom, it's going to be hit. So some of those hits, man, like you know, an NFC Championship game, man, we ran that bang 8 down to the 1 yard line, and Troy said to me, he said, "Hey, it's tight because if we're down tight, the safety don't have to fall. That's the back of the end zone. So he's right there. Troy said, "This is going to be tight. Hold on to it." I said, "Just don't do it. Just do it." You know, all this, you hype like a mother. I want to hear that, Charlie. So he throws that ball right through it. I catch it. That dude hit me, man. I must have did a helicopter in the air. He hit me so hard. Bam. And they came up to me. I'm on the ground. He said, "You all right? I told you it was going to be tight. He told you all right." I said, "I'm all right. Then he said, "Get your ass off the field. Let me get this touchdown." You know. So we, because it set the tone, though. It would set the tone. We would run that play just to set the tone because the defense was, "We're going to take Michael out." We would say, "We're going to give him to you. Let's run it." And you know, they would hit me, but I would get up. What was funny is when they took me out of the game one time and Troy called the play, and it was a bang 8. And I was on the sideline. Something had happened. And I hear Norv say, "What? Kevin Martin's in the game. Timeout. You're going to get him killed." I said, "Well, what the fuck y'all make me do it then?" Why you make me? He said, I heard him. He said, "No, we can't run that play with Kevin in. You're going to get him killed." And I was like, "What the fuck? Why you want me to go in and run it then?" You know, but that's how that was our staple, man. We would not let you take that away, no matter what. That was just a mono play.
All right, so let's move past the Cowboy days and let's talk about a time that you and I share.
Yes.
And I want to hear from your side.
The genesis of it.
I want to hear from your side where it came from. Right. What was the thought process of this all? And I don't know if you've actually heard my side of where I was at.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
And so...
Well, you and I did hear some of it. Remember, you guys, I know you guys don't know this, but I sold Jesse Holley's story to Sony.
Yeah.
We were going to do the movie.
Sony, what's up? Like, y'all.
Right. I sold it to Sony. We sold
the
it.
Check
We wrote
cleared
it. Right.
The check cleared, Sony.
Yeah,
I would love to get
we did take the checks. We did take the checks.
I would love to get another check, Sony. I would love to get another check from y'all, Sony. So if you're watching this, Sony, and we want the story is still good enough.
My boy, right?
The story's still good enough to run.
Better now.
Yeah.
It's better now than I think then because you've done things even beyond the football field. It was so funny in selling that story because remember I was sitting in for Devon Franklin, all those guys from Sony, and I'm telling you, I said, "Man, this is a great story." And I said, "Man, Jesse." I told him, bullshitting. If he just got in the end zone and scored that touchdown, it would have been a great story. He could have made the team, scoring a touchdown on the game winner, the last preseason game. And Sony's sitting there looking at me like, "Michael, that's not true." I said, "What do you mean it's not true? It would have been a greater story." He said, "Michael." They said, "Michael," which really helped me understand TV more in that side of the business more. They said, "Michael, you think of everything from a champion's perspective. So you want him to make it. But the rest of the world comes up short like that. This would resonate more." I was like, "Oh." He said the rest of the world feels like they just barely come up short. And they'll watch this all day long.
Yeah.
So I thought that was brilliant for me to learn that part. You know what I mean? Because it's about who you're communicating to. Whenever you're doing any project, it's who you're trying to communicate to. So that was great to hear that part. That was a great process to go through. I learned a lot.
So just for the viewers who may not know my story or may not hear how we've come together, at that particular time, I had already been in the NFL.
Right.
I had already been in the NFL. I got into the NFL. My first team was the Cincinnati Bengals. And I was there for a little bit, and I didn't do right. I wasn't doing right. And both of us being Christian men, we think about, all right, God is working on something over here while he's working on something over here. You just never know how these things are working out. And so I get released from Cincinnati. Now, this is the first time in my life
being released
I've ever had someone tell me, you're not good enough to play.
Right.
And at that time, for me, everything that I had done, my identity was built in the game. If you had asked me who I was in 2000, whatever that was, 6, 7.
We all did it.
I would have told you, Jesse Holley's a football player.
Right.
That's who I am. That's what I do. That's my makeup. And so when I got released, I didn't even really know about mental health, stuff like that. But I remember sitting in my apartment in Covington, Kentucky. I lived right over the bridge in Ohio. In Covington, Kentucky, and I sat there for a month. I sat in my apartment for a month, didn't call anybody, didn't go anywhere, didn't do anything. I did not know what to do.
Right. You were depressed.
I was depressed. So eventually I say, all right, I got to get up. I got to go. So I packed my TV and my clothes, and I left. And I drove back to North Carolina. Now, you're young, and at that time you come into a little money. I did the young, dumb, and I say young, dumb black thing. Yeah. I had bought a car.
Right.
So now the money's kind of dwindling away, and I'm thinking, someone's going to call me. I'm going to get back with another team. And days go by, weeks go by, months go by, ain't nobody calling. And now the money dwindling down, and I don't have no money. I'm sleeping on a futon of a family friend's in North Carolina. Now I get to the point where I don't have no money, and I can't pay car insurance. So I don't have car insurance. My car ain't registered. I'm barely making the payments on the damn car. I get a job. I'm working third shift as a security guard. This is in 2008. We're in the recession. I'm overqualified for everything, but I get a third shift supervisor job as a security officer. And I remember one night I'm driving, I get pulled over by the police. And God was on my side. It was a lady cop, and I said, I live right down there. Because she said, I'm supposed to take the car. It ain't registered, ain't got no insurance on here, nothing. Right. I'm supposed to tow this car till you get insurance and registration, and you come pick it up. She said, I'm going to let you take it back to the house.
You'd have lost it all, everything.
I have everything. She said, but I'm going to take the license plates off of it. When you get insurance and registration, you come see me. So I'm thinking I got to get to work. I steal a license plate from another car in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Right? And I go to work. Right. So I'm working this dead-end job, and then I'm working at T-Mobile in the morning. You're talking about doing what you got to do to get to do what you want to do.
Right.
So I'm working from 11 at night to 7 in the morning. But I'm training from 7:30 to 9:30 at this old little rickety rundown, tape on all the equipment, the wire's about to pop on some of the cables, gym. Right. Membership was $5 a month.
Right.
But I'm working out from 7:30 to 9:30, and then I go to T-Mobile from 10 to 3. This is how I'm trying to make this all come together. I get a call one night from Kevin Best, who was the PR guy in North Carolina. And he said, hey, man, I got a call from these people from 8 Ball Production, I believe.
8 Ball Production, yep. 8 Ball Production.
And he said they're looking for people who they said can play, have the ability to play on Sunday, but able to be in front of a camera. So here's where, for me, where God began to step in and play a part. Now God is doing whatever he's doing on your side.
Right.
But here's how he's working out on my side. So I said, okay, Kevin. Now, mind you, I'm 2 years removed from being in school. Kevin picked me out of all the people. He's been at Carolina for 20 years.
Right.
Why me? So I get a call, and they tell me, hey, we're going to fax you over there. This is fax time. This ain't no internet really big time. We just send over documentation.
Right.
I said, fill out this questionnaire application and fax it back over. So I do it, and I get a call. And they said, hey, we got 5 audition locations: Ohio, Orlando,
set them up,
Dallas, and 2 in LA. Can you make one? I can't. But I told them, sure. They said, well, which one will you make? I just said Orlando. I ain't got pot to piss in and window to throw it out of.
The closest one you know.
Closest one I knew. So now I'm saying, okay, well, Jess, how are we going to get to Orlando? So I thought, all right, drive. Then I said, these plates don't belong to me. I ain't got no money for insurance.
Well,
I ain't
that's
got
a
no
long
money
way, right?
I'm like, You get caught somewhere in bum F Alabama with these plates that don't go to this car.
That'll be the last time we saw
That would be the last time you probably saw me. So I said, okay, I can't fly, I can't drive. I don't have money for a train ticket, bus ticket, nothing. 2 days later, my phone rings. I'm getting off work in the morning. It's my godmother. My godmother, I'm calling to check on you, baby, yada, yada, yada. We talk, and at the whole time, I'm lying to folks. Because I'm too embarrassed to tell folks I lost it all.
Because you are supposed to be the one that bring everybody out.
So I'm like, oh, now everything I'm waiting for teams going to call, and I ain't got nothing. I got a couple dollars to my name. My godmother calls me that morning.
That's a hard place too, though, Jim.
Well, yeah. That's rock bottom.
That's a hard place.
That's rock bottom. That's when you find who you really are at rock bottom at times.
Place.
She calls me. We talk. At the end of her conversation, she says, do you need to go anywhere? I said, no. I said, why you ask? She said, well, I had a plane ticket. She was in Jersey, but she was from Alabama. She said, I was going to Alabama to see my dad, but I didn't go. And the airline said, if I don't use this ticket, I lose it.
Oh.
And I had the credit. She goes, if you want to use it, I can just call them and see if I can put the credits in your name.
Right.
If you had somewhere you wanted to go. I said, I need to get to Orlando for these dates. She called, she said, it cost me about $100. She goes, pay me back when you can.
Right.
So I went from not having to wait to Orlando to this audition to having to wait. The audition, I don't know if you remember this, was a 2-day audition. You had to do 1 day on the field and like kind of 1 day behind the scenes in the cameras. So I said, where the hell am I going to stay for 2 days in Orlando? I'll sleep in the airport. Then it hit me. Wait a second. You have a family friend who's my 5th grade teacher who dated one of my great uncles who lived in Orlando. She would call me all the time when I was at college, say, hey, I'm in Orlando. I'm a principal out here. If you want to come out here for spring break, come on. I got a pool. Right. And I'm like, I don't want to go to see, I'm going to go to spring break. I'm going on spring break. I don't want to come chill with you for spring break. But I said, here goes nothing. Her name is Miss Denoya. I give Miss Denoya a call. I said, Miss Denoya, you still in Orlando? She said, yeah. I said, I need to come to Orlando for 2 days. Could it be possible that I could stay with you for 2 days? She says, absolutely. Where do you have to go? I said, well, this is where it was a hotel. She said, this is where I have to go with this hotel. She said, really? I said, yeah. She said, that hotel is 5 minutes from my house. She said, I pass it every single day, leaving my complex, going to work. She said, you can walk there if you wanted to, but I can drop you off on the way. I said, wow. So I go from not having nowhere to stay, nowhere to get there, to having a plane ticket and a roof over my head, which is 5 minutes away. I go do the audition. Jesse, his name is Jesse, who was one of the producers. We go and we did the on-camera stuff first.
Right.
We did that, and he said, I'm putting a star by your name. I said, well, if you don't mind me asking, what does that mean? He said, well, we're going to gather all this information here.
Correct.
We're all going back to LA after we do all the auditions. And we're going to meet, and whoever got a star is who we're going to discuss. He said, in fact, I looked at your tape, I looked at some of the stuff. You don't even have to come back tomorrow for the on-field stuff.
Right. They already, yeah.
So I got a chance to spend a day with Ms. Denoya. So then I go and said, don't call us, we'll call you. So I go back, and now I'm still working these jobs. Now here comes, they call back and they said, hey, you have been one of the 50 selected to go to LA.
Go to LA.
For another.
For the major combine.
For the major combine.
For the finals, we're going to pick out people.
So I said to them, I said, all right, guys, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I Hail Mary the last one. I can't get to LA. I can't afford it. They said, don't worry about it. Those 50 that we're bringing to LA, we're flying for it, we're putting you up, and we're giving you per diem.
Right.
But you got to be here for all 7 days, right?
Right.
So I go to my boss, my third shift supervisor boss. This is my only source of real income. And I said, Mr. Quarterman, I need 7 days off. I get Friday and Saturday off because I'm a supervisor, but I need to work out these other days because I need to go and get this opportunity. I don't know if it's going to work or not, because if you remember, in between it was on, and then sponsorship backed out, and then it was off, and then like Popeyes or Bud Light, somebody.
Well, sponsorship didn't back out. What it was is fighting the NFL sponsorship.
Okay.
Like they had Burger King, and if we bring in McDonald's, then NFL's arguing. We had to go back and forth.
So it was on, it was off, and it was back on again. So
right.
I'm like, I don't know if this is going to happen, but at this point in time, I need a miracle. He didn't give me the days off. I went and I bartered with the rest of my staff, the rest of my third shift. I said, if you give me your Sunday, Monday off, I'll give you my Friday, Saturday off the next week. And if you give me your Tuesday, Wednesday. So I got everybody to sign off on this thing. And I brought it back to Mr. Quarterman, and he said no. I said, what the hell? And I was dating this young lady at the time. She said, before you go to work, because it was getting closer and closer, she said, before you go to work, you need to come by my house before you go to work. So I did. She gave me a manila envelope. She said, don't open it until you meet with Mr. Quarterman again in the morning. Because I said, I got to have an answer. So I go and meet with Mr. Quarterman again, and I give him the signals. I said, everybody signed off on this, Mr. Quarterman. Like, I got an opportunity, but everybody signed off. He tore all of the signatures up in my face. And so I'm sitting there, and I look down at this envelope. I didn't even know what it was. I opened it up, and she had already written a letter of resignation for me. And she had a sticky note on there that said, trust God. And I'm looking and I'm saying, I don't got a goddamn dime to my name.
Right.
You telling me to quit a job to chase this thing that I don't even know.
That's perfect.
What it's about.
That's perfect.
I have no idea. I don't know what they're talking about. And they didn't even tell me it had anything to do with you on it.
That's perfect.
And I'm like, I handed it to him and I walked out. I'm sitting in the car and I'm saying, you a damn fool. You a damn fool. You just quit a job in an economy that ain't got no jobs. You owe everybody and their mama. You living sleeping on a futon, and you about to go to LA to chase this dream about a show that you don't even know. Because reality TV wasn't a big big thing back then.
I caught this early.
And I'm like,
I called it early. You're right.
So I go, I do the audition. That's when we first realized that it was you. And it was crazy because we're in this hotel. We're sequestered in this hotel, right? And so here's the crazy part. So we're doing this, and so you're in your room, and you cannot leave your room. Cannot. You're by yourself in this room.
We took all the phone.
And then then they call your room. They call your room, and they say, hey, come down to room such and such. You come down to room such and such. It's an empty room. It's a camera and it's some chairs. And you sitting there, and it's almost like God is talking, because they go, so tell me why you're the best wide receiver here. And I'm talking my talk, right? And then somebody else walks in. Complete stranger, don't know who he is, ain't never seen this man before a day in my life. He sits down. And he goes, which one of you are the better receivers? I'm looking at him, he looking at me. Don't know this man, he don't know me, and I'm me. And of course, he should say me.
Right.
And so they've already created this drama in between it. And so we go back after the week, and they said, don't call us, we'll call you. And I get the call back. And they said, you've been one of 12 selected to go to Dallas to do a show called Fourth and Long with Michael Irvin. And the winner of this show gets a spot at training camp
for the Dallas Cowboys.
And so we all get there, and the night that we get there, our first episode, we get in there, and y'all take everything. Phones, iPads, computers. We had no connection. And people thought reality TV you watch at the time, real world. We're going to be in this nice big mansion. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to have a good time, all that. Right. And then he goes, but before you go, don't forget to turn the lights out. We said, what's he talking about?
I said, yeah, right here. We're staying right here.
And we lived in the Cotton Bowl for 2 months.
We stayed right here.
And so
we go sleep, eat, work. That's what we gonna do.
On my side, that was I was going through.
Right.
That was what was my life.
Right.
Tell us
my side
what was happening on the Michael Irvin side.
Well, okay, now I'm in the business, and I wanted to create something that was along the line where my passion lies, and it's giving an opportunity to people. You know, I looked at myself and said, well, I'm not the most gifted, not the most talented, but it's going to be hard for you to outwork me. And a lot of people have the talent to get to the NFL. They just didn't put in the work, which didn't make them believe, really, that they deserve it. And I said, give me 12 guys. I want to take 6 DBs, 6 wide receivers. And I want to train them and give them an opportunity. Because I think you have the skill shoulders down. It's how you see it shoulders up. Mm-hmm. And if I can change how you see it, then that's the difference between making the NFL and not making the NFL. It's, why are you going to let somebody take this from you? And after what I put you through, ain't no way you going to let nobody take this from you. You see what I mean? When you put in that kind of work, you be like, no, dog. Like I took y'all to one stadium and told you a story, the whole stadium, and I said, this is where we're playing now, but let's get back to the Cotton Bowl. I'll see you there. Anybody that's not there in an hour, keep your shit and go home. I said, what do you mean? Y'all are running back.
Yeah.
I'll be driving. Yeah. Right? I'll leave them there, man. Hey, boy, hey, I'll be sitting there waiting on them jokers to come running up in there in a minute. Boy, hey, them jokers, come finish. Hey, I had them jokers, dude. My whole idea was just to push a person, this show, just to show you, man, you have it. And once you put in this time, there's no way you're going to let him take it from you. Once you put in that time, there's no way you're going to let him take it from you. I said, all right, take a break. Let's go to lunch. Them jokers would go to lunch. They were starving. They go in there and eat. I catch them early. Let's go. Hour after lunch. Let's go. We're on the field. So what did we just ate? On the field. Let's go. We're running till I say I'm tired. I'm just standing there. Come on. They tired. They stop. We're running 110s. They're throwing up. I said, listen, I gave you an hour. You see, this is the difference. You have to learn everything in your life you do for purpose, not for pleasure. You sat your ass in there and ate too damn much. You were eating for pleasure. You should have been eating for purpose. I got to flick your mind. Everything you do has to be for purpose, not the pleasure of it. And I mean, they would throw up, but they would get up and run. But you would get up and go.
What was the conversation like when you call Jerry? You call Jerry Jones and you say,
I need a spot.
You always say, you say, boss. Yeah. I got an idea.
Right.
Here's what I need. What was?
Let me tell you about that too.
Walk me through that
conversation.
Because
I called Jerry and I said, man, listen, this is what I want to do. I want to give somebody an opportunity. I came up with the idea. I said, this is what I want to do. And Jerry was like, oh man, he said, I love the idea, Micah. I love the idea, but I remember I said, but I need a roster spot, boss. I need a roster spot because I wanted to be legit. He was like, you know, and remember Jerry, this is all after he went through all the lawsuit with the league to get his marks and logos and all of that to separate. And he was like, Mike, I spent millions already in this direction trying to get it. But then after a while we talked, then we had a few drinks and we were laughing. And by the end of the night, I had him saying, if you need it, fuck it. I'm going to get it for you. And I don't care if they mad. I don't care, So he got, when he got there, I was like, I was telling him, get the paperwork over here right now. He's feeling good. Let's get the paperwork right. So we finally got the spot, He was like, the other owners are going to get all over me for this, but we finally got the spot, man. And Jerry loves the idea. And stay tuned. I'm just telling you, stay tuned. He loves the idea. Stay tuned. A lot of things going on with Netflix. Don't be surprised if you see Summarize again.
Do I get a job?
That's all. Well, I would absolutely have to bring you in.
Do I get a job?
Because you'll be,
God rest his soul. I can take Coach Avezzano's spot.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. You will. I'm serious. But also bringing you back as one of the successes of the show. Yeah. You're the success of the show and still doing this business now. I'm going to have you over there on your podcast interviewing everybody that's coming through.
Nice.
Be able to do that. Honestly, that is a great play. Yeah. That is a great play because that's what it was all about. It was all about getting an opportunity. Everybody in that space was getting opportunities through reality TV. Yeah. And this was the ultimate thing. And the show did great. What the problem was, and the fight was, the other teams. Yeah. They wanted me the next year to do other teams and do. I said, well, okay, then I can work around that. But you got to let me control it. And they didn't want to.
The teams of the NFL.
What the NFL?
Okay, yeah.
The NFL, the other teams in the NFL was getting on us. Right. And if you can't do that every year to do the Cowboys, so we were going to do Washington. I would have gotten Darryl Green to be part of it, oversaw it, stuff like that. But it just got, and then we got the sponsors. It's always the problem going back and forth with the sponsors. Because these people saying, well, they're not NFL sponsors. They're trying to sneak in through Michael. Saying, oh, okay, give me that. Let me get that money.
Right.
Me. What's wrong with you? So we went through all of that, man, and that's why. And they basically stole it. Even that undrafted rookie or whatever they basically stole it. So we're looking at bringing that back because I thought that was a great opportunity.
No, I mean at the time we had, if I'm not mistaken, we had the leading show on VH1.
We got great
We had great ratings.
We got ratings. We got everything. It was those other 29 teams, 28 at the time, fighting. They were fighting us. That's what it was.
Where did you come up with some of the stuff that we did? Like most notably that I remember, and so here's what sometimes people don't realize where
that shit was so hard. That jump was so hard because I wasn't just trying to beat you physically.
You were trying to kill us.
I was trying to break you mentally.
No, seriously.
It was a physical beatdown to break you mentally, and once you came through all that physical beatdown, mentally strong, nobody was going to beat.
There were times where this is legit. Because Mike gets into this mode, right? And he's in all black. He's in all black. He got his long coat on, and when he gets into that mode, this don't always work well. This goes into a different mode, and he forgets about legalities and all that other stuff. And there were times in the show where, from the truck, a producer or director would have to come down, and they would go, Mike, listen, they're having full body cramps. If someone dies, we're done.
Right, they were worried.
We had so there's one time.
I said nobody gonna die.
I don't know. We had one time where we were doing.
I was killing the mug.
We're doing 110s with the parachutes.
Right.
And
right.
He's looking for someone to quit.
We're preparing for a 40-yard dash. I was telling them we must train for the fourth quarter. Too many people are training for the first quarter. He ran it 4-3. He ran that shit one time. Yeah, you're not going to run one play in a game.
This is who
I want you to run 15 110s, and then we'll run a 40. I want to see what you're going to do in the fourth quarter. I don't want to hear about that in the first quarter. Nobody wins the game in the first quarter. So let's go. Let's run first. We're going to run and then have to go do a 40. I get your true speed this way. Because that's how I train.
But
that's
we
how
didn't
I train.
Stop at the one. Did you forget? We didn't stop at the 110s. We get about 15, 20 110s in, and he ain't satisfied. So he says, take the parachutes off. We're in the Cotton Bowl.
They hit the stairs.
Hit the concrete stairs. Now, if you know anything about the Cotton Bowl isn't one successive incline all the way up. You got to get to a certain point, go into the tunnel, come around, come back out, and go back to the top.
And I want you running these stairs until I can't take it. I'm just sitting down.
From the bottom of the Cotton Bowl
and they were
to the top of the Cotton Bowl, in cleats, back down, and we just had to keep going. We had to keep going, and that's when they came out. They said, Mike, you gonna kill somebody. You gotta stop.
I was like, I did this.
We had another day.
I was like, I did all this. Why can't they do it?
Where so and here's the thing. So now we're in
I worked them to death.
One locker room is offense, one locker room is defense.
I worked them to death.
We're separated. We have no clue what's going on the outside. And a lot of times we had no clue what was coming up next. They just come in and they'll say, be dressing on the field in 15 minutes. Don't be late. So this time, we don't do nothing all day long. Nothing. We're just waiting, anticipation. Anxiety is high. We do nothing. We go to sleep. They wake us up in the middle of the night, and we go to this field. This is March-ish.
Right.
So about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. Man. I don't even know where the hell this field is at.
We muddied up the field.
It's cold. They got somebody to allow them to tear up an entire field.
Yeah, we muddy.
And it's muddy. They brought in the rain
everything. Right, everything.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning. It's about 40 degrees. And we have to do the ball carrying drill. You get 2 footballs. And it's a gauntlet that you have to get through. But you're running through. It's muddy.
Everything, mud, everything.
Let me tell y'all something.
It was coming down. It was coming down. They're running through there.
Once you can't brace yourself because you got 2 footballs. You can't fumble because if you fumble too much, then you get put in the room with elimination. So now, but you got to keep running high knees up through this mud and slush and cold to get to the other side. Mud's in your face.
Breathing
You are
hard.
drenched. You are drenched, and you don't get to go inside. You got to just stand around. And so how TV works is I'll go, then they got to wait, reset, reposition it. I'm waiting 20 or 30 minutes for the next guy to go, and everybody has to go. Then once you go, you have to go and fill in and be a tackler. Yeah. I mean, there were so many things that happened in there.
Hard.
And
it was so hard.
And then the one night, it was a relief, but it was an absolute setup. And I love the fact that I'm not a drinker like that, and so it didn't affect me.
Oh, yeah. Took him over to what's called the bar, Abby's Bar.
Yes. Coach Alvazano had a bar in
Abby's
Louisville.
Bar. Right.
It's still there.
Over there. Yeah.
And so we have a good day, and Mike's like, I'm going to reward y'all. Be dressed. We're going out.
Had some girls there and everything.
Ooh. Now, mind you, this is all men. All we're doing is competing day in and day out. We haven't talked to our families, seen our families, been to the outside world, nothing. This is our first time we're going out in maybe about a month. And we go out, and we at Joe Alvazano Bar. I don't know where these women came from, but I'm so glad that they were there. I'm so glad that they were there. And we're having it, and they're like, hey, have at it. Whatever it is your heart desires.
I remember telling you, have fun.
Go ahead. And I'm sitting there, I'm just like, I'm entertaining the ladies. I'm happy to be around something other than these third legs all day long. She smelled good. They soft. I'm happy to be a part of this. But I ain't drinking. And guys over there, give me a shot. Give me this. And they drinking. And we leave there about 3 o'clock in the morning. And we get back, and there's notes on the door. And somebody's bed got taken away. So now it's like you got to fight for. I had no problem fighting for my bed didn't get taken away. Good old Moses got his bed taken away. He had to sleep on the couch. And so now you think I had a good night out. I'm liquored up. I'm full. I got some women in my my system. I can lay here like a king. And as soon as you thought it was okay to close your eyes,
correct.
The alarms go off, sirens are going off, horns are going off, and they come rushing in there and they wake everybody up. You just lay down. And that's when you took us and you said, here's where we used to play. Here's where we're going to play in the future. This stadium it was still being built. We were the first ones to kind of see the inside of the stadium. And that's when Jokers is trying. We had to run 5.5 miles from the Cotton Bowl, where the Cotton Bowl where the old stadium used to be, to the Cotton. And man, it was hell. And I won. And I win this show. And it changed my life.
Yeah.
And I don't need two of us to be emotional on this show.
Yeah.
You've already been emotional for enough for the both of us. Yeah. But I remember when I left that show, I was in debt. I owed some people, I owed companies some money. And I remember calling my brother, and I said, bro, I need $1,000. I said, what, $1,000, man? I said, listen, I got to just keep some of the creditors off my back. Right. Let me just, I said, and I told my brother, I said, I won't lose. I said, I won't lose. I promise you, I won't lose. He said, you sure? I said, bro, they aren't willing to die for this. And I said, there's nothing else that I have. And he said, okay. And that was my mentality the entire time. Right. And the thing about the show was, you couldn't hide.
But just getting there.
You could not hide.
You see what you just said? You weren't going to lose.
I said I wasn't going to lose.
That's the mentality. That's all you're trying. And somehow, some way, you got to try to get people to that mentality. When I talk about a collective will, it's if you say to yourself, if you put in the kind of work, you're not going to lose. Like I didn't do all of this to lose, man. And that makes, and a lot of guys just don't have that. The whole idea, training, there's only so much your body can do. Mm-hmm. But the more you overtrain your body, you really take power in your mind. Like I don't know that I can, I can run this much, run. I don't know that I can get in any better shape. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm outworking everybody. Mm-hmm. So no matter what, I'm going to win. My job as a coach, or any coach's job, is to put you in the situations you're going to be in the games. They're pressure situations where you're going to be tired and you want to quit, and that dude across from you, he's tired too.
Right.
It's just who's going to want it more. And the guy that put in the most is going to want it the most.
No, and everything that happened in that show totally prepared me for what my time was with the Cowboys, because a lot of people don't even know I win the show, and I tell people I wasn't guaranteed a roster spot. I was just guaranteed the fact to go to training camp.
Right. You had to earn that spot.
And Jason Garrett, who was the offensive coordinator at the time, wasn't too thrilled that I was coming along.
A lot of people weren't.
Wasn't too thrilled that I was coming along, and he never gave me a playbook until I got to San Antonio. So I spent that whole time. So here's how you talking about, and I don't know if you even know this. And man, God bless Joe Avezzano. God bless Joe Avezzano, man.
Good man.
God bless. Thank you, Coach. God rest your soul. Coach Avezzano said, I'm not going to let you fail. I said, well, Coach, I need to learn. Like, I need to know. He made some phone calls, and shout out to Sammy. Sammy still works for the Cowboys in the video department. We would sneak over to Valley Ranch in the middle of the night, and we were in a small little room that Sammy was in. At that time, he would had to do all the cut-ups. Right. And he would let us in. We would sit in that room 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. And we would just watch the film from the meetings. Right. And I hand wrote everything down that I could.
To get it right.
All the plays that they wrote, everything that they wrote, I wrote down. I watched all the film because I was scouting competition. I'm looking at Patrick Creighton and Sam Hurd and Miles Austin and Roy Williams. But I'm writing all these plays down by hand. I'm going off meeting after meeting after meeting of the OTAs and minicamp, and I'm writing them down, and then we sneak out. Because at the time, no one could know that I was that I was in.
Right. This was after Jesse won.
Right.
And the show hadn't revealed the winner yet.
No.
So we had to hide Jesse in Dallas for a few weeks. I had to sneak over and train them to keep them going, keep them ready. I was sneaking over with some ropes, and we're doing some personal training to go through it. Nobody could see us anywhere. Nobody could know that we put them back in apartments and just hide. Yeah. You got to hide until the show revealed. But yeah, those were cool times.
No, but it absolutely changed. It changed my life, man. And I get to the Cowboys and I spend 3 seasons there, and of course I have the infamous San Francisco 49ers play that happened. But you talk about being ready for the moment. It's in that moment that, I got called upon. Dez is out, and Miles is hurt, and the game is on the line. And Tony looked over and he made a call. Yeah. And I had told him the whole time, I'm ready. Whatever it is, I'm ready. And it happened, and that moment lives in infamy and in Cowboy history. But man, what a great time.
Because of the story it tells, though. Because
Absolutely.
of the story it tells. And the Cowboys, America's team. What is America about? It's giving you an opportunity, and that's what made it so apropos. You got that opportunity, and you made the most of it. And I always hold that. I appreciate that.
So be on the lookout, because there may be another show coming along, and I hope that I'm written into that script some way, somehow.
Right.
And
I'm gonna write them in there.
Yeah, so I'll end on this. I'll end on this, because we've had a great conversation, and I'm so thankful that you took the time to do our 100th episode. The current Cowboys.
Yeah.
We talked about, guys, when you came in that was there for just, hey, man, we get paid on Tuesday.
Right.
Hey, man, we know we get paid on Tuesday. And you guys created and cultivated this brand that they're still living off of today. Hell, I'm living off of it today. This brand of America's team, this brand of we are the standard of what it is. But they ain't quite lived up to that right now. What is wrong?
Well, we're in a different time. And honestly, and I don't want to be the old guy, I am the old guy, but we are teaching different things too. You got to look at what we're talking about. The game of football is about fighting for what you think you deserve, what you think you've earned. When we're taking fights out of young men, you used to have to fight to get on a starting job, a fight to work your way up. So now, if you go to a high school and you're not starting, you transfer. Yeah. And then you used to be you got to be able to work now. When you get in college, you can't just transfer. You're going to cost you. Now, You go to college. Oh, they got somebody in front of me? Oh, okay, I'm going to enter the portal. And somebody else give me more money to go somewhere else. I don't have to fight for that position. And if you continue to take all the fight out of me, it's going to show up on the football field. You keep not making me fight for things, you know. So I believe that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it. And now you're getting paid early. I'm happy you're making the money. I'm happy because you deserve the money. I don't want the NC2A and all those people to get it, but I want us to somehow not lose the fight. And right now, we're losing the fight. We go from everybody gets a trophy.
Right.
That generation from everybody gets a trophy comes up to high school where, you just transfer. Oh, go to college. Well, oh no, you don't want to get in the portal, get more money. So where did they learn to fight? For anything. Everybody got a trophy. They didn't have to fight for that. Then they got into high school, and everybody gets everything. So yeah, you start losing in that, and I think we see some of that now.
Troy had some comments that people kind of, some agree with them, some push back on them. When he talked about the Cowboys aren't what they once were. It's not a coveted job for head coaching, and not a coveted place where free agents and other players are trying to get to. Did you agree with when Troy said that? Do you agree with what Troy said in that? Do you believe that the Cowboys is still?
Oh yeah, it's Cowboys still. And Troy's in the business. I'm in the business. You go back this year. I think it was maybe the Giants in one of those games. It was a sorry game, but it still was most watched game. Yeah. So Cowboys are still carrying that weight. It's just what blows my mind is if these guys would ever get a grasp of what they got now, and oh my God, what they'll have if they ever get over the top, be a whole nother world. It'll be a whole nother world. So I hope they see that. I've always held on to, if there's a championship on the table, then your job while you have it is to put a championship on the table. Number 88 has only become what it is because when Drew handed it to me, Drew Pearson said to me, I'll never forget, he said, man, don't. I said, man, I'm trying to do what you did. And he said, no. He said, I need you to do better. Legacies are built when the next person comes on and adds something on to it. He said, I need you to do better. And that's what I would hope for these guys. I just want them to just experience a Super Bowl or experience that level one time. And I know if you experience it one time, you'll be like how they train hunting dogs. You know, how they train a hunting dog is they take the animal, they call it first blood. They smear the animal, they smear the dog's nose all in blood. He gets a thirst for it, called first blood. And now the smell of it makes him hungry. I need these young bucks to taste first blood so they can get that hunger.
Well, recently, the lion of the pack, Micah Parsons, got into a back and forth with now Seattle Seahawk Tank Lawrence. Those two were former teammates. Did you like the way that went down? Did you
Absolutely
like what did you like what Tank did? And did you like or dislike how Micah responded to it?
I'm okay with Michael's response. And I talked about this on my YouTube channel. Like Tank, first of all, I love Tank and I appreciate all he's done here. But when you go back and look over, when D-Law got that contract, D-Law was putting up 10 sacks a year. Post-contract, it felt like 5 or 6 a year. And then Michael Parsons came, and I understand D-Law was the man, and Michael Parsons came, and I'm like, why you guys didn't figure out a way to work together? Now I see what was going on in the locker room. And my issue with D-Law is I'll never win there. No. You have to self-indict. You were here. You see, he's pointing fingers like you were not there. You were here. If you had said, man, I've been there, man, I just couldn't get it done. I couldn't get it done. We didn't get it done when I was there. I couldn't get it done. I got to take that because at least you self-indicted. But you can't act like they're not doing something you were. And then we had the top offense some of those years, and the defense was killing us, and you were directly a part of that. But on the other side, I say this to Michael Parsons also, because I gave thoughts towards D-Law and what he should have done and should have done. But to Michael Parsons, I said, this was the second time someone has said something. And I think in order to receive all the information, because all of it has something in it, you just got to be able to get something out of it. You've had two players now saying that this is a distraction. Obviously, it's not a distraction to him. He's one of the top players in the National Football League, about to be paid more money than anybody in the history of the game that hadn't played quarterback. So it's not a distraction to him. He's continuing to perform, but since he cannot win on defense all by his lonesome, now he has to assess and do something, accept and assess what he can do to fix this issue. I suggest to Michael, like I did with my show, what I see is these guys are jealous and envy of the light that you're getting, because you guys are losing and we got to talk about something and you're giving us stuff to talk about. So they're jealous of the light that you're getting. Why don't you have a segment like I did in my show every week where you pick out a guy on that defense that plays great and you bring him on the show? You got to share the spotlight, because you got to share responsibility on the field. So I can't just say, oh, screw them dudes, I don't care what they say. You're going to need those guys. So you got to toe that line as a leader. And so I'm hoping that I don't want him to stop doing this podcast. Y'all stop that shit. Everybody stop that shit. Do y'all not see? So wait. You want him to stop making tackles? You want him to stop hitting the quarterback? Because that's when you see that, you see, oh, how much they paid him $300 million? Okay, for hitting the quarterback. I'll keep hitting the quarterback. Oh, how much they just gave Travis Kelce on him? $200 million doing a podcast? Okay, I'm going to keep doing my podcast. What are we talking about?
Right.
This is a business decision. It's a businessman. Let him keep doing his business. And the guys that are playing with him, you got to put down that penny ante bullshit. You know, Michael Parsons and make plays. And I say this again, you worried about what do we start this show with? These guys talking about Michael Parsons getting all the pop, he getting all the pub. Win Super Bowls, win some championships. There'll be so much to go around that you'll have enough. But y'all ain't winning shit. And so there's only a small light. Win championships, there'll be enough for everybody to go around. Trust, me, Emmett, and Troy, Emmett, and I, we still living off of it. It's been plenty for us. It's been plenty for us. All of us, we still make millions. Y'all should try.
Last question for you, man, and this may be a little bit controversial, but do you think Jerry is still the man for the job as general manager of this Cowboys football team?
And we've been back and forth as long as I know on this, you know what I mean? And the one thing I will say is Jerry ain't never given the job up.
No, we know that.
See what I'm saying?
We know that.
So we can opinion it, we can think about it, talk about it, go up and down about it, but he's not giving the job up. I do believe that I want sometimes some of that old Jerry. You know, understand you get older, you settle down a little bit more, but I want that risk taker sometimes. You know, I wanted that risk taker this year. I wanted to see that risk taker that took a chance on Deion
and
before
Deion being
took a chance again. You know what I mean? Because I'm just talking about the hope. I'm talking about the hope. Hope is an important thing.
He's been selling hope for a long time.
Right.
30 years he's been selling hope.
And we're dwindling. And that's why I'm saying we needed something to give us new hope. Hope. We needed something to say. What does hope say? Hope. What does hope say? Why does the Bible tell you in all things keep hope? You know why it says? Because if you got hope, you'll say there's something in front of me better than the mess behind me. Let me keep putting feet together. Let me keep moving forward, because that's hope. And right now, we need some hope. I hope we get some hope in this draft. You know, I've been talking about it. Go get me a playmaker in this draft. We need line. But we need playmakers in this draft, because playmakers are going to give hope, you know, and we need hope. And we need another solid on offense to help CD Lamb. So I hope they go get that Gentry guy if he's there at 12, or you go get me a big-time wide receiver at 12, somebody that can give us some hope.
Thank you.
Oh, man, thank you, man.
Episode 100.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything. Thank you for always being there when I need you, when I call, when I text. Thank you for opening up the door for me. Thank you for keeping the door open for me. I know that if I ever needed anything, that you would be there for me.
My guy.
Man, you forever changed my life. And if there's ever a time that you needed me for anything, I'm there.
Yeah. Jess, and I love you, Jess. And thank you for taking the opportunity and making the most of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Honestly. And giving me something to put on that desk for God. Woo! When I say, when he asked me, what am I doing to go to heaven, I'll put Jesse
and
out
just
there and just dance on out the room.
Make sure I'm going to have this when he go see Netflix. When he go see Netflix, I'm going to say, remember that thing that you were saying?
He going to be in there.
Yeah.
He going to be in there. I promise you. He going to be in there. And you mentioned it. Yeah. You're right. God bless Axe. But that's going to be your role.
Yes!
You definitely get that role, but I guarantee you.
Let's go, man.
Because I need the people that are there now to do what? See you and have what? Hope. If he did it, so can I. Yeah. That's why it's important. We'll have them there.
You guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, man. And like I tell you guys at the end of the show, like I tell you at the beginning of the show, he corrected me, but on our way out, we'll tell you again. Tell your mind to tell
let
your
mind
body.
control your body, not your body. Control your mind. Stop hitting that damn snooze button. That's your body controlling your mind.
Yeah.
Get your ass up and go get your money.
Yeah.
Go get your money.
Y'all know how I like to say it. Eliminate the contingencies. I'm out.